Today we're looking ahead to West Ham United versus Portsmouth. First round of the Carabao Cup, a fixture coming prior to the commencement of the EFL Championship, and obviously both of the teams that are taking part today will be in that particular competition. But this is a competitive fixture that we haven't seen for nearly 15 years. They're two historic clubs, two passionate fan bases, and this is a cup tie that carries a bit of nostalgia, a bit of curiosity, a bit of intrigue. So, it being the first competitive home game of the new season for us, Nuno will want a strong start. And Portsmouth, they arrive after a difficult championship campaign last season. They finished 8th out of 24 teams, but they will have a point to prove. So let's get stuck into it. This isn't a derby, but it is one of those fixtures that has always had a bit of spice, especially during the Premier League years. There's been some memorable meetings. If you go back to Fratton Park meeting in 2009, West Ham United won 4-1, and it was one of our best away performances of that particular era. Now, there's been some clashes at Upton Park where both sides were scrapping for mid-table stability during those years, but there was, in our last meeting, a meeting at the Championship level where we played at the Bowling Ground in a 4-3 win in the 2011-2012 Championship season. That was a proper 7-goal thriller. Goals from Matty Taylor, Henry Lansbury, a penalty from Mark Noble, Carlton Cole, all scored. We also had Frederick Piquionne sent off. It was classic Upton Park chaos. The place was absolutely rocking. In terms of our last 6 meetings against Portsmouth, we are unbeaten. And overall, in our history, the record is incredibly tight. There are 26 wins apiece and 13 draws. Here's an interesting stat, though. This is the first time that West Ham United and Portsmouth have ever met in this competition. However, Portsmouth's cup pedigree goes way, way back. They won the FA Cup in 1939 and again in 2008, and they reached the final in 2010. I know it's not the League Cup, but it demonstrates their cup pedigree. Now, before we go any further, if you're enjoying this preview, if you wouldn't mind just dropping a like on the stream and giving us a hype if you have one available, because this is what's going to push the content out to places it otherwise might not reach. If you could also assist with sharing this on your social media platforms just to boost the exposure a little bit further, and get your comments in the section below. And why don't you, if you've got a mobile device and you're not already subscribed to the channel, get out your mobile device and scan that QR code that's in the top left-hand corner. That takes you to our YouTube subscription page, and subscribing is free, data safe, and only takes a couple of seconds of your time and helps to grow the channel into something bigger and better than it is as you currently find it. So come and join us on the journey. So let's get stuck back into it. Now, the connections between the club, there's actually been a surprising amount of crossover between West Ham and Portsmouth. Some of the players who've represented both clubs: Hayden Mullins, Matty Taylor, Svetoslav Todorov, Hayden Fox, Freddie Potts, Jermaine Defoe. I know, sorry, I feel dirty for saying it. David James, Gary O'Neill. There's also been a couple of managers that have crossed the divide: Harry Redknapp and Avram Grant being the two examples of this. So these links always add a little bit of extra flavour to a fixture, I feel. Now, let's quickly run through confirmed absentees for both sides. As far as West Ham United are concerned, Thomas Souček is out and 𝐏𝐫𝐬 Lamadrid is out with an injury as well, which he got in the game against Magdeburg. I think it's fairly safe to say that although they're not injured, they won't be involved. Players such as Jean-Claire Todibo, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and I suspect Nicholas Fulcrum. The fact that he hasn't got a squad number this season probably tells its own story. Now, these are two pretty significant absences, with especially Souček, who you would suggest would probably be a guaranteed starter if he was available. As far as Portsmouth are concerned, they've got a few injuries to key players. Probably the biggest one of the lot is an injury to Marlon Pack, and Marlon Pack is their captain, so that is quite a significant absentee for Portsmouth. Other injuries that are reported: Josh Murphy, Conor Ogilvie, Mark Kozanowski, Keshi Anderson, Joseph Bursick, Franco Umi Chiobuzi. I don't know if I've just mangled that surname. Sorry about that if I have. And Harvey Blair. Pack, as I say, being their captain, it's going to be a really big blow for them. And obviously, conversely, that will be a big boost for us. He's their captain. He's their organiser. So him being out is good news for us, if not them. Now, as I said earlier, Portsmouth finished 18th out of the 24 teams in the Championship last season. It was a pretty tough campaign. They were inconsistent, low scoring, and at times it was worrying for their supporters. They avoided a relegation scrap, but only just. Now, with Marlon Pack unavailable today, their midfield dynamic will change completely. And here's a couple of players who will define their approach. Terry Devlin. Last season, he was Portsmouth's player of the season. Now, he's normally a midfielder, but he spent an awful lot of time last season playing at right back. So it'd be interesting to see where he pops up in the game today. He's energetic, he's aggressive, and he covers huge amounts of distance. He presses relentlessly. This is a guy that does the work of two players. He's really a Swiss Army knife type player. He can play in multiple positions to great effect. Colby Bishop, he's their striker and he's their main goal threat. His movement, his strength, his aerial ability make him the focal point of the Portsmouth attack. Now, without Marlon Pack in the team, he may receive a less structured service, but he will be dangerous nonetheless. Another player to watch out for, Adrian Segacic. He's a forward, and again, with Pack missing, he will become one of the key creative outlets for Portsmouth. He will need to drop deeper in order to link the play and to help Portsmouth progress the ball. He is technically sharp, and he's also very composed. And as I say, Marlon Pack being out is a major blow to Portsmouth. He's their organiser, he's their calm presence, and he's the player that keeps them structured. Without him, Portsmouth will lose a degree of control in midfield, and they may struggle to dictate the tempo. Now, for West Ham, this is our first competitive home game of the season following relegation from the Premier League to the Championship. And it offers a chance for us to build some momentum under Nuno Espirito Santo. But we come into this one, it has to be said, with an unbeaten pre-season. I know people would say that that's neither here nor there, but that is a fact. We were unbeaten in pre-season. We had wins over Colchester, albeit behind closed doors, and Stevenage. We also had draws against Southend, Rangers, and Magdeburg. Now, the performances have been a little up and down, I think it's fair to say. But I would say that I think that the fitness levels of the players do look like, as the games have been going along, that they have been improving incrementally match by match. And that the squad appears to be adapting to a structure that Nuno's trying to put in place, whether we like it or not. Now, what should we expect from Nuno? Well, Nuno does generally tend to take cup competitions quite seriously. However, he does like to have a little bit of a rotate here and there, it's fair to say. So could we possibly see some fringe players being involved? Could we possibly see the odd youngster? Could we see players that maybe possibly need minutes, like maybe Edson Alvarez, who didn't have so much of an involvement in pre-season, but has now, it would appear, be committed to staying for West Ham this upcoming season? And maybe, what about Joel Veltman? Will he possibly get a run out? Maybe even Alphonse Areola, perhaps. Will Alphonse Areola be the cup goalkeeper and get a run out ahead of Mads Manson? I don't know. But with Thomas Souček and Keebler Madrid out, it will make the selection of midfield become quite interesting. And midfield is the engine room. So this will be a key decision that Nuno has to make. Now, I think that there are going to be a few players who could be likely to feature. I think that Ollie Scholes will get the nod at left back. And I wouldn't be surprised if 𝐏𝐻𝐺-𝐸𝐿𝐼𝐻 actually plays in front of him in left wing slot. We'll wait and see what happens. Could Joel Veltman, as I say, get a run out? He's been our only signing that's been confirmed at the time of recording this. So I guess maybe it depends on his match fitness. I don't know. Now, there will also be some squad players who possibly need to get a little bit of rhythm and sharpness. So would Nuno possibly use this as an unofficial pre-season friendly? Although it is a cup competition, I'd like to see him take it seriously. Now, in terms of Portsmouth's approach, how are they going to come at us? Well, I think they'll have a compact shape. They'll come with high energy. They'll look to employ quick transitions. They will be a set-piece threat, I feel. And obviously, the midfield, it'll be interesting to see where Terry Devlin plays. Will he play at right back or will he pop in a central midfield, given the absence of Marlon Pack? Bishop will be their focal point and Segacic will be linking the play. There will be, obviously, because of the absence of Marlon Pack, it will probably mean that the midfield will have a little bit less control and it'll be a little bit more chaotic than it otherwise might be if Pack was available. But it's fair to say that Portsmouth will try to make this match quite uncomfortable, especially early on. They'll look to ruffle our feathers. So our approach needs to be controlled possession. I think really we're going to need to use the width and we're going to need to stretch Portsmouth. We're going to need to rely on our greater technical ability. And I'm not trying to be patronising there, but we've got a lot of players that have come down from the Premier League. So we should have a greater technical ability that we should look to employ against Portsmouth today. Now, As the game rolls on, I think maybe we might see a few more substitutions, a bit of rotation here and there, but it's important that we maintain the structure, whatever it is that Nuno wants to employ. Now, because of the absence of Marlon Pack, we need to exploit that, in my opinion, by dominating the midfield. And if we play with intensity, really, we should have too much for Portsmouth. But if we're slow, sloppy, then Portsmouth absolutely have the tools to cause an upset. Now, this is a proper cup tie. Two historic clubs, two passionate fan bases, and this is a chance for both teams ahead of the opening of the EFL Championship fixture next week. It's an opportunity for both sides to make something of a statement. For us, it's about professionalism, rotation, and building confidence. For Portsmouth, it's a three hit effectively, but they will be dangerous because of this. So I'm expecting a competitive game, lively atmosphere. We're obviously going to break the record for a first round League Cup fixture today. That's a little bit of a feather in the cap. Lively atmosphere, hopefully a strong West Ham performance to kick off the Carabao Cup game, and obviously the carryover into the Burnley fixture to get the EFL Championship off and running. Now, if you've enjoyed this preview, do me a favour, hit the like button, hit the hype button. That's what helps to put this content out to places it otherwise doesn't get. Get your thoughts and comments in the section below. Really would be interested to hear what you guys think about this. Why not consider sharing this on your social media platforms just to boost the exposure a little bit more? If you're not already subscribed to the channel, if you get out your mobile device and scan that QR code that's in the top left-hand corner, that will take you to our YouTube subscription page. Subscribing is free, data safe, and only takes a couple of seconds of your time. And it helps to grow the channel into something bigger and better than it is at the minute. So come and join us on the journey. We thank you very much indeed for your support. We'll see you again soon. Come on, you Irons.